So I am Heather Smith. I'm the Grand Traverse Baykeeper at the Watershed Center, Grand Traverse Bay. The Watershed Center is a nonprofit organization that advocates for clean water in Grand Traverse Bay, and we work to preserve and protect the Grand Traverse Bay watershed. We focus a lot on advocacy, education, restoration, and monitoring, and really connecting people to our local water. We are dealing with high water here in the Grand Traverse Bay watershed. Not surprising, we have high water across the Great Lakes Basin. We've had a number of back-to-back years of exceptionally high precipitation in the region, and our groundwater tables are saturated, and really the water has nowhere to go, and it's leading to a lot of issues in the Grand Traverse Bay watershed and really across the Great Lakes. People are grappling with shoreline erosion, structures that have been built too close to the water's edge and now are potentially crumbling into the water, flooded septic systems in our coastal regions or in our low-lying regions, lots of different issues, shrinking public beaches. There are a number, and at the Watershed Center we really want to be a resource for the community to understand high water, understand natural Great Lakes water cycles, and think about ecological solutions that we can implement at the land-water interface that are really going to lead to a preserved shoreline and protected water quality in our region and really across the Great Lakes. The Watershed Center has been working with a number of communities on resilient community planning. So we're really working with communities to understand natural variations in the Great Lakes, to really understand some of the zoning provisions that can be adopted that help protect our sensitive land-water interface, that land at the water's edge. Things like water's edge setbacks, requiring structures and impervious surfaces to be built further back from the water's edge. So during our high water years, we're not struggling with what to do with things that are crumbling into the water. Riparian buffer provisions, which are really zoning provisions that help maintain vegetation at the land-water interface. That's really critical for healthy water, but it's also critical for stabilizing shorelines on our Great Lakes and in our inland lakes and streams. We're also working with communities, landowners, municipalities, developers that are figuring out what to do with the land-water interface. The best thing to do, if it's palatable, is to live with a little bit of erosion during our high water years, and that can be that's probably best suited for our low grade beaches. Bluffs are a little bit more difficult, dunes, and also when there are structures that are already too close to the water's edge. But we're really working with developers, landowners, and municipalities and townships to understand if a revetment structure is needed to address erosion, how can we make that the most ecologically sensitive? So building in natural bioengineering practices, things like coir logs or biodegradable materials, and certainly those deep-rooted native plants that are so critical for our healthy water. We're pushing our state and federal partners to continue to look at kind of ecologically forward-thinking solutions at the land-water interface, and we're supporting the contractors in our area that are really ensuring that plants and natural solutions are at the land-water interface. So we're really here as a resource for the community members, whether that's the individual, the business, the municipality, or folks that are working at the land-water interface during these